In many ways, this is a story about relationships, but not only the kinds that exist between pharmacists and nurses, or state-of-the-art technology and resident safety. Rather, this is a story about relationships that stretch back to the early 1960s, that involve a piece of land once known as the Christy Fisher Farm, and Maxville-born Conservative MPP Josée Villeneuve, who had a vision, who had a goal, and the community that pulled together to make Maxville Manor a reality.
Well, first of all, we had a little place called Christy Fisher's, and that's where the manor is built. But before they could build the manor, they had to have a doctor, they had to have water, and there were so many things had to happen first and had to have a staff. But without a doctor, we couldn't manage. So I guess that was one of the first things they said, we'd had to have a doctor. And John Morris was a pharmaceutical rep for Ayrton McKenna, and John said, I have the doctor. He said, I have Dr. Jaggassar is just graduating from McGill with highest honors, and he's looking for a place to go.
I was attracted to this community by John Morris, who is now deceased. His family grew up in this area. He was a drug rep for Hearst in Montreal, and he knew the previous doctor in Maxville, Dr. John Much, was terminally ill. In fact, I visited with him when I was an intern. Because of that, I ended up coming to Maxville for 2 years. I was planning to go into internal medicine. Then I decided to start a family, and I elected to stay. My background in medicine included everything. I worked in Emerge, delivered babies, did pediatrics, but over the years I gradually became more interested and more involved in geriatric medicine.
So it turned out that we got it, and now all we have to do is to make sure that we got it and run it properly. It was built, and it built it perfect, and you couldn't get a better. You can go out there and you could say that's where I want to go.
So in triumphing over challenges that encompassed everything from finding water to finding a doctor, a little serendipity and some might say destiny also played a role in the relationship between Maxville Manor and medical arts.
For me, going back to provide professional services, pharmacy services to Maxville Manor is a real privilege. And it's a privilege for me because I feel very connected, and I see a lot of the names of people who I knew when I was very young.
Of course, caring for the residents of Maxville Manor is first and foremost. And when it comes to pharmaceutical care, much goes on behind the scenes and long before the medical arts van makes its daily trip to the manor.
For you to have a better understanding, I'm going to divide the trip of that prescription in 3 steps. So the first step is really here in the entry of prescription in the computer and the scanning process of every prescription we receive from the nursing homes. So at this point, the prescription has been entered in the computer, label have been generated, and we are packaging your medication. In this room, you can see one of the machines we are using for packaging medication. It is also used as a backup for a nursing home machine that we have that we're going to show you later on. So this is to package the medication. And we can see in those machines that we are using canister. And those canisters are all barcoded. And those barcodes are scanned before the medication is put into those canisters. And this is all a series of double check from the machine to make sure that the right medication is packaged for the right patient. And here is the room where we do the final check of all the strips we make in a day. So we have 3 technicians in pharmacy and pharmacy assistant that are checking the strip to make sure they contain the right number of medication and the good medication. And anything that needs to be double checked by the pharmacist is kept aside here to be double checked against the order received during the week by the doctor.
In addition to providing professional services to personal care residences, Medical Arts is also a fully operational community pharmacy.
As an owner pharmacist of Medical Arts Pharmacy, I have been involved in patient care for over 20 years now. I love my job. I love being a pharmacist. I love to work with the Medical Arts Pharmacy team, and I love to think that I'm building relationship with people, that I take the time to listen, and I also being alert on a medication possibly going wrong.
Most people would probably agree that something that goes along with a good relationship is the story of the relationship, the history, the experiences, and capturing the stories and preserving them serve future generations.
So I think we've come full circle in my relationship with the Maxville Manor. It started off with my mother and her family playing on the property. And now as we've all aged and developed and evolved in our own lives, now I'm providing services to people on that same property.